Edward Harrington learned that money can't buy immunity for your children, and the Chen family learned. You want to hear a story about a young man who thought his family's billions made him untouchable? All right, sit down. Let me tell you about the morning. A 26-year-old heir walked into my courtroom and said, "I own this city. My family built this downtown. You work for ME." 3 hours later, he left in handcuffs, learning that in America, justice doesn't answer to money. The file that came across my desk that Thursday morning made my hand shake. Christopher James Harrington, DUI, causing serious bodily injury, hit and run, leaving the scene. But it wasn't the charges that shook me. It was the names under victims. Thomas Chen, age 41, Jennifer Chen, age 38, Emma Chen, age 9, Michael Chen, age 6. A family. A whole family nearly destroyed because someone's son thought red lights were suggestions for people without private jets. The name Harrington meant something in this city. Technology, empire, real estate holdings, buildings with their name in gold letters downtown. Edward Harrington III was the kind of billionaire who appeared on magazine covers, while his son proved that no amount of money can buy character. Here's what I learned from Detective Williams. The Chen family, Thomas, an emergency room nurse at Rhode Island Hospital, his wife Jennifer, a third-grade teacher, and their children Emma and Michael were driving home from Emma's piano recital. 9-year-old Emma had just performed Beethoven's Für Elise for the first time. Her little brother Michael kept telling everyone his sister was the best piano player in the world. Thomas was driving carefully at exactly the speed limit. That's when Christopher Harrington's $350,000 Ferrari came screaming through a red light at 75 miles per hour. The impact report made me physically ill. The Ferrari T-boned the Accord on the driver's side, spinning it into a concrete barrier. Thomas's left leg was shattered in 17 places. Jennifer's pelvis was fractured. Emma suffered severe whiplash and concussion. 6-year-old Michael broke his collarbone and 3 ribs. But what made this case personal was what happened next. Christopher didn't call 911. He didn't check if anyone was hurt. He called his father, and Edward Harrington went into damage control mode faster than the ambulances. Detective Williams testified about how Harrington's legal team arrived before police finished taking statements. $1-million attorneys, not helping the injured family, but coaching witnesses. The evidence was devastating. Security footage from 3 angles showing Christopher's Ferrari weaving through traffic at dangerous speeds. Toxicology results showing blood alcohol 0.13 and cocaine. The Ferrari's computer showing he never touched the brakes. But the recordings Detective Williams obtained revealed true character. Phone calls between father and son. Edward, coaching Christopher. Tell them the light was yellow. Say nothing about wine at lunch. The recording that made me step out of my chambers was Edward at the hospital talking to Jennifer Chen while her husband was in surgery. "Mrs. Chen, I want you to know how sorry my family is about this unfortunate incident. Traffic accidents happen in busy cities. I've authorized my attorneys to offer your family $50,000 to resolve this privately. $50,000. For Thomas's shattered leg requiring 6 surgeries. For Jennifer's fractured pelvis ending her teaching career. For Emma's months of headaches. For Michael's nightmares every night." Jennifer Chen looked at this billionaire with tears streaming and said something I'll never forget. "My husband saves lives. I teach children to read. And you think we're worth the price of your watch?" Edward's face went cold. "Mrs. Chen, I'm trying to help, but if you choose to be unreasonable, my attorneys are very good at their jobs." That was a threat. When Jennifer refused and hired attorney David Martinez, Edward declared war. Private investigators dug through every aspect of the Chen's lives, looking for anything to use against them. When they found nothing because the Chens were hard-working people living decent lives, Harrington got desperate. Recorded calls showed him offering witnesses money to change testimony. He called City Councilman Morrison, offering a $250,000 campaign donation to facilitate a conversation with the DA. When Detective Williams brought me those recordings, I sat in my chambers and thought about my father. He came to this country with nothing, worked 3 jobs, so his children could grow up where justice was supposed to be blind. The morning Christopher Harrington walked into my courtroom, I knew this would test everything I believed. Thursday, 9:30 a.m. sharp. In he walks like he owns the building. 26 years old, suit costing more than Thomas Chen's hospital deductible, gold watch glinting. Behind him walked 4 attorneys, billing $2,000 an hour. Christopher James Harrington, DUI causing serious bodily injury, hit and run, reckless endangerment. What struck me wasn't his expensive clothes. It was the look on his face. Not remorseful, just annoyed. Mr. Harrington, you drove drunk through a red light at 75 miles per hour and almost killed 4 people. Do you understand these charges? Your Honor, I think there's been some confusion about what actually happened. The traffic cameras show you running a red light at high speed. Toxicology shows you were drunk. What's confusing? I'd had wine with business lunch hours before. The light was yellow when I entered. We have footage from 3 cameras. The light was red for 4 full seconds. His attorney jumped in. Your Honor, my client's recollection may differ. Physics doesn't care about perspective. Your client was driving 75 in a 35, ran a red light, and T-boned a family. Christopher leaned forward. With respect, I'm a very experienced driver. I've been driving high-performance vehicles since 16. You were drunk and on cocaine. I had wine with business lunch. Neither impaired my driving. Your blood alcohol was 0.13. That's drunk. I have high tolerance. What's legally impaired for some people doesn't affect me the same way. Did he just argue drunk driving laws shouldn't apply to him? After the collision, why didn't you stop? I did stop. Further up the road. 1.5 miles away at your apartment. I was in shock. But you were thinking clearly enough to call your father before 911? It's natural to call family when scared. While the family you hit was bleeding? If this story is making you angry, subscribe to Judge Stories YT, because what Christopher says next will make your blood boil. Let me show you the security footage. The courtroom went silent. 3 angles showing Christopher's Ferrari weaving through traffic, running the red light without slowing. The devastating impact. The Chen car spinning. Christopher driving away while smoke poured from the destroyed Accord. When it ended, you could hear crying. That's your perspective? His face had gone pale. Seeing it now, it looks worse than I remembered. It looks like attempted murder. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, but you did. Let's hear from one of them. Thomas Chen came forward, leaning heavily on a cane, his left leg in a brace. Your Honor, my family was coming home from my daughter Emma's piano recital. She was so proud. My son Michael was telling everyone his sister was the best piano player in the world. He paused. We stopped at a red light. I looked both ways, like always. The light turned green. I started through. Then there was this sound, like an explosion. Everything went white. My wife screaming. My kids crying. Pain everywhere. My leg was twisted wrong. I looked down and saw bone. Several people were weeping. Next thing I remember was the hospital. My wife telling me Emma had a concussion. Michael broke his ribs. That I'd need surgery. Then a man in an expensive suit appeared. Said he wanted to give us $50,000 to resolve this quietly. Thomas looked at Christopher. My 9-year-old daughter couldn't sleep without nightmares for 4 months. My 6-year-old son flinches when he hears cars. My wife...
Did you catch that? He just argued that drunk driving laws shouldn't apply to him because he drinks more than average. Legal reality check. Impairment isn't subjective. Blood alcohol levels don't care about ego.
My wife had to leave teaching because standing hurts. I can't work 12-hour shifts, saving lives. His voice strengthened. And this man's father offered us $50,000 like we were selling a used car. How has this affected you financially? We've lost over $100,000 in wages. Medical bills are $80,000. We might lose our house. Jennifer Chen stood from the gallery. Your Honor, I taught 3rd grade for 12 years. I loved watching children's faces light up when they understood something new. I can't do that anymore. Standing makes my pelvis scream. I had to resign. When I lost my job, we lost health insurance. She looked at Christopher with devastation. This man took my career. He took my husband's ability to work. He traumatized our children. And his father tried to buy our silence. What would you say to Mr. Harrington? She turned to face him. I would ask him to imagine his own children someday in the back seat, happy and safe. Then imagine someone like him, drunk and careless, destroying their lives in 1 second. I would ask if 50,000 would be enough for his children's nightmares. I would ask if he thinks our family is worth less because we don't have billions. But mostly, I would ask if he's ever been held accountable for anything, because I think the answer is no. Like this video right now if you believe Jennifer Chen deserves justice. Mr. Harrington, you heard what you did. What do you have to say? He looked at his lawyers. Your Honor, I feel terrible. If I could go back, I would change it. But you can't. So what now? I want to pay for their medical bills, help with expenses. Your father already tried to buy them off. I want to make this right. How much money makes this right? Whatever they need. They need their old lives back. Can you buy that? Silence. This isn't about money. This is about accountability. That's when his arrogance emerged. Your Honor, with respect, I think you're not seeing the full picture. My family employs 12,000 people in this state. We pay millions in taxes. We donate to hospitals, schools, charities. We're major contributors. And that matters. Why? Because context matters. One mistake shouldn't destroy everything my family has built. One mistake, you got drunk, got high, drove recklessly, nearly killed a family, and fled. That's 5 mistakes. Your Honor, I'm trying to explain that my family is important to this community. We matter. More than the Chens? That's not what I said. Christopher looked at his father in the gallery. Edward nodded. And that's when Christopher said it. Your Honor, let me be frank. My family owns half the buildings downtown. We fund city programs. We support political campaigns. We employ thousands of voters. He paused. I own this city. My family built this downtown. And frankly, Your Honor, you work for us. We pay your salary through our taxes. The courtroom erupted in shocked gasps. So yes, what happened to the Chen family is unfortunate. But destroying my future over one accident when my family provides so much doesn't make sense. Sit down, Mr. Harrington. From a practical standpoint, sit down. My voice cut through the courtroom. Did you just tell this court that you own this city? I'm saying my family is significant. Did you tell me I work for you? Your Honor, I'm explaining economic realities. You're explaining that you think wealth makes you special, that money buys different treatment, that your buildings mean you can nearly kill people without consequences. That's exactly what you said. You said you own this city. You said I work for you. I walked around my bench. Your family doesn't own this city. The people do. The nurses like Thomas Chen who save lives. The teachers like Jennifer Chen who educate children. The families who work hard and try to live decent lives. Those people own this city, not you. You said I work for you? Wrong. I work for them. I pointed to the Chens. I work for every person who believes laws apply equally. That traffic lights aren't suggestions for the wealthy. That drunk driving kills, regardless of how many buildings your family owns. You said your family built this downtown? Your family built it with money earned by workers. You didn't build anything. You inherited everything. My voice filled the courtroom. And you stand here, in front of a family you nearly killed, and tell me you own this city? Let me show you what ownership really looks like in America. Subscribe to Judge Stories YT right now, because what happens next proves justice owns arrogance. Christopher James Harrington, I find you guilty on all charges. DUI causing serious injury. Hit and run. Reckless endangerment. His face went white. Your sentence, 180 days in Providence County Correctional. License suspended 3 years. Full restitution to the Chen family, $275,000. 500 hours community service at Rhode Island Hospital Emergency Room. Furthermore, for your statement that you own this city, you will write a public letter of apology to be published in the Providence Journal. But most importantly, your sentence begins immediately. Bailiff, take Mr. Harrington into custody. What? Christopher's voice cracked. Your Honor, I need time. You had time before you decided to drive drunk through a red light. Your Honor, please. My father can pay. Your father can't buy your way out of handcuffs. Officer Thompson approached with handcuffs. Your Honor, this is insane. I'm not a criminal. My family. Your family money means nothing here. You're just Christopher Harrington, just a man who nearly killed a family. The handcuffs clicked. The sound echoed. Your Honor, please. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. You're sorry now? After telling me you own this city? As Officer Thompson led him away, Christopher turned back. Mr. Chen, Mrs. Chen, I'm so sorry. Thomas Chen stood slowly. Mr. Harrington, my wife and I will pray for you. We'll pray that these 6 months teach you that every person matters, that every life has value, that wealth without character is poverty. Christopher broke down completely. I don't deserve your kindness. No, but we're giving it anyway, because that's what decent people do. That's what your father never taught you. The door closed with a heavy metal sound. Then Edward Harrington stood from the gallery and walked to my bench. Your Honor, I need to say something publicly. He turned to face the Chen family. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I came to your hospital room thinking I could solve my son's problem with money. That's how I've solved every problem. Write a check, make it go away. But watching my son in handcuffs, I realized what I've done. I didn't teach him character. I taught him money solves everything. His voice broke. I thought I was protecting him, but I was destroying him. Every time I paid off a problem, I made him weaker. Your Honor, my son is 26, and this is the first time he's been held accountable. That's my failure. He pulled out his checkbook. I'm writing a check for $1 million to Rhode Island Hospital's Trauma Center. Not to help my son, he deserves what he got, but to help families like the Chens. I'm also establishing a drunk driving victims fund, another $1 million. He looked at me with tears. Judge Caprio, thank you for showing my son what I should have taught him. That in America, justice owns everyone. Nobody owns justice. Mr. Harrington, your son is going to be in jail for 6 months. What are you going to do? I'm going to let him stay there. No lawyers trying for early release, no special treatment. He's going to serve every day. And when he gets out, he's going to work. Not at my company. Somewhere where his last name doesn't open doors. You know what I learned from this case? 6 months later, I got a letter from Thomas Chen. Judge Caprio, watching Christopher in handcuffs, didn't bring back what we lost. But it proved that in America, justice can still reach anyone, even people who think they own cities. Jennifer Chen came to see me a year later. She'd returned to teaching part-time. Judge, when Edward offered us that money in the hospital, I was so angry. Not because the amount was insulting, because he thought our family was for sale. Emma came with her that day. Judge Caprio, my teacher told us about your courtroom. She said you showed that everyone has to follow the same rules, even rich people. That's why we do this job. The $1 million Edward donated created a trauma center expansion that helped 43 families. The Victims Fund helped drunk driving survivors who couldn't afford legal representation. But maybe the most important outcome was Christopher himself. When he got out, he got a job at a community center in South Providence, teaching kids basketball. He went to AA meetings, volunteered at the hospital, wrote letters to drunk driving victims. 2 years later, I saw him at a grocery store with kids from the community center. When he saw me, he stopped. Judge Caprio, I never thanked you. For sending me to jail, for caring enough to hold me accountable. My father spent 26 years teaching me money solved everything. You taught me in one day that it doesn't. He gestured to the kids. These kids don't care who my family is. They care if I show up. If I keep my promises, that's what matters. My father always told me, Frank, money is a tool, not a master. When you think wealth makes you untouchable, you discover that justice has very long arms. Christopher Harrington learned those arms were long enough to reach billionaires' sons. Edward Harrington learned that money can't buy immunity for your children. And the Chen family learned that in America, sometimes justice still works the way it's supposed to. I'm Frank Caprio. Remember, nobody owns justice. Justice owns all of us. Thanks for listening, and God bless.